So I was coming on today to just chat. Since we last talked, I think, what did we talk? We talked about healing. Yeah, healing rejection and abandonment. That's the last video. If you want to go back and check that video out, that's there for you. So, you know, I'd like to do a bit of a check-in below. You can always drop a comment and let me know how you're doing. Check in emotionally is what that means, or energetically. But I feel guided today. I don't know. I keep looking at, I have to grab them. And it's called Healing with the Angels. And it's more like a energy check-in is what I'm going to wind up doing here. Just to check in. But, you know, I've been going through some rough things, you know, and that's like, it's sad, but it's almost par for course these days. It's been made akin to labor pains or contractions within a birth. So I would have to say, yeah. And when we're growing, when we're doing the inner work, the soul growth that we have, it's like you'll expand outward, and then after that expansion, you contract in. And it can almost feel like, what the hell? What's going on? You can almost feel stuck, you know. So I have been going through that as I leave behind one life, one way of being, and I try to enter a new one. Which, you know, when you're alone and going through this, it's hard enough. But when you're surrounded by people who don't want you to rise. I mean, I'm currently somebody who's walking her trip alone, right? And spiritual journey, should I say. I'm finding that the people that I've either left behind or the ones surrounding me now, the new ones, they're not always wanting the best for you. So, new beginnings, enchantment. This is the second time that was behind new beginnings. So, something very enchanting coming in. And then protection. So this new beginning is divinely protected. Okay. And behind that was children. So again, this could be read a couple ways. There could actually be a new beginning with regards to children. You could be having a child, getting pregnant, or moving into a position or some project where you'll be working with or for children. Okay, it could be a career change. Whatever the new beginning is, it involves children for some. For others, another message is inner child. Now, I'm a channel all about healing. And to get to your highest self, you have to heal your inner child and your inner teenager. You have to work through and focus on some hard stuff. Focus. But you're protected while you do the work. But you need to focus on that hard stuff, on healing it, on the stuff we don't typically want to look at, or feel, or re-feel, or relive. But we do it so we can become our best selves, because in doing that, freedom. Okay? So there are new beginnings on deck, and some of them revolve around either having done the inner child, excuse me, so that's confirmation. For some of you, you've done inner child healing work where you could have felt, because it was my throat chakra, you could have felt silenced as a child. You could have been told, shh, be quiet, or lived in a household where children were to be seen and not heard, sort of feeling like children weren't valued. And I will share with you right now, that couldn't be farther from the truth. Children are angels of light. So are animals. And you're going to be coming in and meeting somebody who you guys are going to heal your inner child with together. Somebody out there. But this is an answered prayer. Deep healing coming from that. Could dream about one another. Could speak to each other in music. But you're manifesting each other. Forgiveness will need to happen, but will absolutely happen with celebration behind it. Meaning, yes, that's going to happen. All of this is going to lead to massive spiritual growth. And here's the thing, nobody's going to know it's happening because it's almost going to be cloaked with retreat. So whatever happens here, for anybody who resonated with that message, nobody's going to really know about it at all. Even though they're going to want to know about it because they want ideas about what's going on, and it almost feels like this little guy's whispering in her ear, but they want to know about what's going on. They want to know about the blessings and the abundance. People do. So children are actually a huge blessing, and I, for one, can vouch for that, being somebody who was told she couldn't even have children. And then having one, despite all the odds. Completely natural. Epidural, failed. Everything. I felt everything. Like everything. And it was 21 hours. So almost a whole day of everything. And what I can say is this. My child is a miracle and a blessing. And children often are overlooked, are seen as little people that need help from big people to grow up and become productive citizens of this world. And to some extent, that concept holds. But what if I told you when these little people come in, they actually, some of them retain so much more than you could ever even realize. Children can be so smart and have past life experiences where they're retaining things And this is probably part of their contract, because most of us can't remember things when we come in. This is part of the process. It would make things too hard, and there wouldn't be as much spiritual growth. But some work things out with divine, God, whatever your higher power is. And I have found in my personal experience that my child was a catalyst for the greatest growth within me, for this, for another dark night of the soul, for probably one of the most challenging parts of my life to begin. I started with the blessing of a child. And since this little person entered my life, I've grown by leaps and bounds, and sometimes find myself in utter awe at what I've learned from that little person. Children sometimes, I kid you not, and I'm actually being told to reword this, so I'm gonna rewind. Children don't just come here for no purpose at all. If you're granted the access to having a child here on earth, it's because it was granted by your higher power. But children bring lessons and blessings. So both. They're an eternal blessing, but they're also the lesson as well. They're a catalyst. So I would not downplay how important children are. In fact, children are great mirrors. How you respond to a child, or how you think about children, says a lot about places in you that may need healing, but it speaks to how you feel about how you were treated as a child. You're growing up, and where inside of you, where's that internal healing needed? Is it with your inner child? Yeah, probably. Sometimes they're mother wounds, sometimes they're father wounds, sometimes both. And, you know, this list could go on and on, you know. I was born rejected and abandoned right at birth. But before that, I'm finding out now, at almost 50, that I could very well have been adopted. Because I have 2 last names, and it's not something I've spoken on much, because up until, I guess, recent, I had no reason to. I believed what I was being told, and I didn't challenge it. But now that I look back and I question, I'm being shown different answers. So what I can say now is, as somebody who is on the precipice of maybe finding out her real origins in life, I have an entire family I know nothing about, except that they wanted to get rid of me. But yet, watched me my whole life and plotted to make things hard for me. And you might be finding yourself saying, why would they do that? Because of your ideas stemming around what family is. See, I've got a counseling master's, as well as a life coaching certification. And I've spent a great amount of time in spirituality. And I'll just say this. Not all parents Not all people were raised under that umbrella, under the same umbrella even. Some of us don't have loving families. Some of us walk alone. I'm my loving family. My Father above is my loving family. But I will say, growing up, I didn't really know that they weren't. I had only those instances in my memory of with finding my cradle card, which had 2 last names on it, and then the conversation with my mother about it, and then another conversation with my mother about something that happened later with my sister, and then me putting pieces together. Thank God I am a detective. So I got wild abandonment issues, not to mention this entire family, and it's spiritually based why they did what they did. Not to mention jealousy and everything else. It seems my mother was with somebody, possibly, other than my father. And that's why she didn't want to hold me. Guilt. And then my father wasn't even there. The father that raised me was not even present when I was born. I don't think I know my real father. I get visited. I've been seeing dead people since I was born. I'm a psychic medium. And I get visited all the time. I'm an open channel. And I do get visited by masculine energy that says it's family. Alive or dead, channel, I can channel anybody's higher self. So this masculine does not have to be passed over. So, just saying. Children, by far, come into this world and they're sent by God. They're angels, so are pets. And if you have them and you have the valuable opportunity to have them, then you are count yourself lucky and see them as a blessing. The other way with this message, I told you there were a couple. Children are new starts. So it would just be a double confirmation of this new beginning. I just got another download. Somebody could be having twins, had twins, or will be getting pregnant with twins. Paternal. So, or, yeah. Well, I got a mother here. So I'm gonna say for some of you this is maternally led, and some of you paternal. I'm really, and some of you it will be 2 little boys, and some of you it will be 2 little girls. Now, that's the other thing. You might have that sort of thing running in your family, like twins. Twins run somewhere in your family lineage. I know on my mother's side, twins do run. My mother's father was a twin. my grandfather, who was a Gemini, oddly, which is a twin. Go figure. So, yeah. Nevertheless, healing for spiritual growth. That's because of this blessing coming in for some. You can find out more through meditation or quiet time. Stillness is what I'm hearing. Getting nice and quiet. Or I'm also picking up nature. So she is sitting. Water could be very important. The sun could be very important. Loving on yourself. I'm just looking at this angel. Loving on yourself is really key to healing. This is a blessing within a blessing, but you're being divinely guided to do this, to love on yourself, and to come in to talk with divine for more answers, because it's there. They're waiting. Just got to get yourself still enough. But there's support. You have an entire support system around you. So, how does somebody heal all of that? Well, when you're a kid and you don't really know, you know, I think there's divine protection. Divine loves the children. And I really do believe that whatever's going on there, divine is protecting. Okay? Okay. Yeah. So, I'm being advised to bring out these daily guidance angel oracles. So, you know, when you get older, so how did I do it as I got older? How did I cope? First things first. I had to become aware enough, and then once I did, I developed my connection with divine, and as I developed my connection with my higher power, I started to realize that I needed more than what I was doing. So I jumped into things like meditation and prayer. I got real still. You're talking to somebody who at one point used to affirm all the time, I'm never going to be somebody who knows how to meditate. And now I meditate every day. It's part of my daily habit. So, higher power, focusing on that connection there. Then, like I just said, self-love, self-care. Why do I say that? I mention it in almost every video because that's what this is all about, self-love. You're your first true love. At least you should be. Yeah, commit to yourself a wedding. Hold on, I dropped the card. Let's see what that is. I'm very curious now. If I can get it up. Okay. Yeah, by doing that, you're going to be very, very abundant. It says shower of abundance. So, it's going to build your confidence. They want you to focus on your heart chakra. Okay? And for those of you who have trust issues with other people, it's going to build up your trust by working on your heart chakra. How do we do that? Meditation. Guided breathing exercises, mindful. Set the intention. Other forms, journaling with a guided intention or prompt to heal that heart chakra. Letters to whomever's hurt you. Speaking your mind. You don't have to send it. You could just store that in with the rest of your journal if you wanted to, but if you really want to put out some potent energy, you could burn it at a full moon, an unburning ritual. I used to take my net to a fire pit, and I'd sit with it and I'd talk. I'd talk to the letter, and then I would say my formal and final goodbyes, and I would release. It's a release. That's one way to heal your heart. Another one, music, dancing, creative outlets of any sort, painting, writing, making anything with your hands, anything, music, knitting, sewing, jewelry, woodwork, doesn't matter. Why? You're healing your inner child, which is a part of your chakra, your heart chakra. If you do this, stay consistent with steady progress, because that's how you get steady progress, is through consistency. So these are things that I actually have done and have found very helpful on my healing journey. And I'll just say this here. I always forget in the beginning. I don't know. It's just not something that I lead with, I suppose. But even though I'm a professional, this is my story in my channel. And I'm literally sharing my story so I can help anybody, just even one person, not have to go through the things that I did. In the 50 years that I've been alive, I've been through a gamut of different types of traumas, and I know I don't look it, and that is a divine thing. You see, I'm somebody who has been through a lot of things people would never assume I've ever been through. Even right now, this is a hotel. I've lived here 4 years, and I'm still working to try and get out. Against all odds, against all people. Because I do have a group of people that don't want me to leave. Why? They're energy vampires. They're feeding on me. And I'm getting ringing now. Confirmation. But my time as a grid worker is over. I came here to see light and to heal and transmute. And I've done that. And it's time to move on. In fact, I'm a little late. I'm feeling like the rabbit in Alice in Wonderland. But, I know wherever I am, I'm right where I should be on my journey. And I'll say this for you too. No matter where you're at right now, you're right where you need to be. I'm going to repeat that. No matter where you're at, you're right where you need to be. Regardless if that's in a good situation or a bad situation, because those are called subjective. Wherever you're at, there's a reason you're there. And if you just sat with that and were honest with yourself, you would come to that lesson or that point of understanding what you need to do or heal. Everything you need is right here and inside you. And of course, if you need any help, I'm here, and I am somebody who can help. The answers are in you. And how do we get to them? Like I said, meditation, prayer, if you're not that great with meditation, silence, walks in nature, writing, But when you do the work, you're going to find rewards coming to you. Rewards. And that's a very happy little girl sitting there. She has a seashell. So you can live by the sea, by water. You might like seashells. How do you know that any of this is for you? Well, you could, seashells could be prominent for you. You could be somebody who likes angels, excuse me, tap that. I've got a lion here, deers, fox, wolves. The law of attraction is something that you know something about. You might be into the color purple or green. Any shade. Doesn't matter, the hue. I'm getting a lot of green. Green is the lower heart. Pink is the upper heart. I'm wearing pink. You could play an instrument. And you could be very creative. You could write. You could draw. You could paint. You might be royalty. Meaning you have boss energy. You could be, this could be literal, like in spirit, or in another lifetime, or boss energy even in this lifetime. Okay? You could be thinking wedding. You could be getting married or have just gotten married. You could be trying to figure out what your life purpose is. And I'm being told to tell you, what do you desire is the question you need to be asking yourself. Again, confirmation for the ocean. But when you ask, you need to listen, because that's when the answers will come. I'll share right now because I'm being guided to. Typically, we're born with skill sets and abilities. Things we're good at. Things we like to do. And so because we like them, we build them up because we're spending so much time with them. Some of us are even born with things that we're naturally very good at, and we didn't even realize that we were. These are the places where you're to focus to go to your life purpose. And some of you are like, but, hold up. How do I make playing bongos pay for my existence? That's when getting into one of these positions of meditation and prayer and really listening will help. You can always reach out to me. I'm very good at helping people figure out their life journeys, but I can say this. Sometimes you're given these skill sets, but you need to acquire more than one. So yeah, you play bongos. Is there something else? Do you write? Sometimes it's like a puzzle, and maybe you're one piece away. If it's just the bongos, then obviously you need to do that along with something else until the bongos is in a place where it can, make you that income. But like me, I was never somebody who had just one. I was not normal in that I was like, I want to be a doctor, or I want to be a nurse, or I want to be a school bus driver, or, a teacher. For me, it was more like I had to take a combination of things, and because of all my skill sets, and throw them together to make my dream come true. And I spent a lot of time doing that. lots, decades even. From a writing certificate, I spent time in the travel industry. I'm telling you, counseling, alternative medicine, life coaching, because of my psychic gifts, tarot readings, and building up that aspect of me. You're looking at somebody with quite a few abilities, and we all have that capacity. All of us. For me, it was a puzzle, and I had to put all these pieces together, combined, to make a solid foundation to which I could even remotely begin to build anything on. Nevertheless, I'm sorry, my kid's texting. He's actually with his friends at a birthday, and the party's over, and I actually have to go get him. So that means I have to I have to end this for now. Perfect timing. You know, that's funny, but yeah, focus on service. As I gotta run to go serve and get my child, you know, do know this. When it comes to healing, the thing that matters most is that connection with your higher power, but also the one with you. Love you. Love you enough to stay by your own side and never give up. Because I'm telling you, when things get hard, at least then you know you'll never let you down. And I'm not saying you can't trust other people, but when you're starting out and you've not done this, you gotta learn to begin to trust yourself, okay? I was asking for one final message, and what I got was let the past go. So, yeah, letting former thought patterns and behaviors go. The way you think about things, clearing out that closet. Maybe current circumstances are holding you back and trapping you in some way. And accept what is, I'm hearing. Accept who you are. Accept how wonderful you are. And build that relationship with yourself, because that is where your empowerment will actually begin outwardly. Everything starts here. So whatever you put here is going to grow outward. And I can't begin to tell you how much abundance, again, will come from that work. It will change your life, change your direction in life. So, and give you great joy. Dolphins could be another thing you're seeing. But, yeah. Anyways, sorry this is so short. I would have continued to go, but my kid is my priority. At least now. I mean, I gotta get him home, but know that I love you, and I want to thank you for showing up. I'll be back. I appreciate you coming in this evening, and yeah, take care of each other and yourself. I love you. Until next time, be well.